Hey fam, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications.
Folks, huge news out of Chicago today. R. Kelly has been indicted on sex charges related to contact with 4 underage victims. Earlier today, Cook County State's Attorney Kim Fox made the announcement in Chicago. This is what she said in the news conference.
Earlier today, Robert Kelly was indicted before a Cook County grand jury on 10 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse involving 4 victims. The first victim, initials HW, was involved in incidents which occurred between May 26, 1998 and May 25, 1999. A grand jury returned an indictment on 4 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse based on the victim being under the age of 17 and Robert Kelly being more than 5 years older than the victim. The second victim, initials RL, was involved in an incident which occurred between September 26, 1998 and September 25, 2001. A grand jury returned an indictment on 2 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse based on the victims being under the age of 17 and Robert Kelly being more than 5 years older than that victim. The third victim, initials LC, was involved in an incident which occurred February 18, 2003. A grand jury returned an indictment on 1 count of aggravated criminal sexual abuse based on the transmission of semen by Robert Kelly upon any part of the body of the victim for the purpose of sexual gratification during the course of an underlying felony of attempt criminal sexual assault. The fourth victim, initials JP, was involved in incidents which occurred between May 1st, 2009 and January 31st, 2010. The grand jury returned an indictment on 3 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse based on the victim being under the age of 17 and Robert Kelly being more than 5 years older than the victim. Aggravated criminal sexual abuse is a Class 2 felony with a sentencing range of 3 to 7 years per count. It is also probationable. We anticipate that Mr. Kelly will appear in bond court tomorrow afternoon. Thank you.
Folks, keep in mind, R. Kelly has been in the news over the last several months as a result of the Lifetime documentary that was done on him, where many women allege sex acts while underage. That aired record ratings on Lifetime. It was in 2008 when R. Kelly was found not guilty of being engaged in sex with an underage girl. The issue there was that, in that case, there was a video that was delivered to the Chicago Sun-Times in 2002 that showed R. Kelly having sex with what appeared to be an underage girl. Yet when they went to trial, the jury could not establish the age of the woman in that particular video. It was a few weeks ago when lawyer Michael Avenatti said he received a videotape of R. Kelly having sex with a 14-year-old. That tape was turned over to CNN, and as a result, what happened in that particular case, they watched it, and they said on that particular tape, the young woman on the tape and R. Kelly referenced her being 14 years old. I want to go to Scott Bolden, legal analyst for Roland Martin Unfiltered. Scott, glad to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Scott, we look back to the case that took place in 2008 where he was found not guilty. There was a 6-year gap. And again, the jury could not ascertain the age of the young girl. Sparkle, who was her aunt, testified that was indeed her and her age. Her brother testified that it wasn't her. In this case here, Scott, on this videotape, you actually hear R. Kelly and the young woman referencing her age and her genitalia. Your thoughts on this indictment?
Well, it's a lot different than 2008 for sure. You have 4 victims. You have 10 aggravated criminal abuse acts that go back over 20 years, some under 20 years. I think that this is different because you've got Avenatti, who's representing one or more of the families. This videotape is far more detailed. But these are tough cases. I'm a former sex crimes prosecutor from New York, and I got to tell you, memories fade, if you will. Look for a lot of briefings on the statute of limitations. Under Illinois law, the statute of limitations is 20 years, and it starts running from the time the young women turn 18 years old. Watch for that to be challenged, and then watch for the witnesses in this case. How long can they be held? How long can the state's attorney's office keep them interested without them being struggle between testifying against an R&B superstar or not? A lot to go on before we either get to trial or plea. A lot going on before you even get to a conviction here. He'll put up a significant defense because 7 years running concurrently is tantamount to 70 years, and he can't afford that. None of us can, for that matter.
Scott, in the previous case, it was 6 years between that videotape being turned over, him being indicted, and them going to trial. That was one of the criticisms of Cook County State's Attorney then, that it took 6 years for that to happen. I doubt very seriously Kim Foxx is going to allow 6 years to go by before there's a trial in the case of R. Kelly.
She'll try not to, but remember, he hasn't been convicted. He has his due process rights, and he's certainly innocent until proven guilty, no matter how we feel. This is going to be a heavily papered, heavily researched case, and there are going to be a lot of witnesses, and there's going to be a gag order probably, because there'll be pressure on the witnesses to say certain things to convict R. Kelly. There'll be certain pressure on witnesses to not say certain things, but then in the end, all the witnesses will be required to tell the truth. And so I hope it doesn't take 6 years, but he's going to have the best lawyers, and they're going to paper this case and defend him to the hilt. So it's going to take some time, but we can get there.
You also have a different situation now because the finances of R. Kelly have been greatly impacted. You have streaming services that are not playing his music, radio stations that have pulled his music as well. Folks, of course, in the United States are not wanting him to also have concerts. When you think back to the previous case, there were different stories. I was in Chicago at the time of him sending potential witnesses off to vacations for several months and years in other countries. You've also seen where Cook County has gone after his studio. He announced that because they said he can only do music between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m., he's now looking for new music. And so his finances, he's in a different financial situation in 2019 than he was in 2008 as well.
Well, I think he's in a different financial situation, not because of what you said, but because there are other investigations going on, parallel investigations. The FBI is investigating them along with the Department of Treasury to see whether he's violated any finance laws through banks and checks and what have you. Department of Homeland Security has a full-on investigation looking at whether he's guilty of children and sex trade trafficking of young women, which is really relevant, probative, and material. He could be charged at the federal level beyond this state level piece. So he's got to have a set of lawyers to fight that, because he's going to be fighting for his life. So he's going to need really good lawyers, and he's going to need money to pay them. Now, he may or may not have that. He's made a lot of money over the years. But as you may know or may not know, but I know, lawyers can cut up and cost a lot of money real quick in these type of high-profile matters.
Also, Scott, you have obviously very busy week there for Kim Foxx and her office, but of course with the Justice Smollett case as well. When you look at this R. Kelly case, them indicting him with these 4 women, you also have the possibility that other women could come forward. It was Kim Foxx who put a call out after that Lifetime documentary for people to come forward if they had information regarding R. Kelly.
If there are other women, then those other women are going to come forward, which is a whole nother challenge. It's interesting that this is like the week of men behaving badly. You've got Jussie Smollett, you've got R. Kelly, you've got Robert Kraft. I mean, it's just a bad week for men acting like they have no sense. But that being the case, if there are other women, they will try to get them into the grand jury right away and continue to add those charges in order to force a plea agreement, if that's possible. If the evidence is so overwhelming, then his lawyers will certainly sit down and try to work out a deal.
Got it. Scott Bolden, we surely appreciate it. Thank you so very much. I want to now go to Oronike Odeleye, who's the co-founder of the Mute Kelly movement. Oronike, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. First of all, this has to be, you have to be a great day for you. You and others have been calling for R. Kelly to be held into account for years of allegedly sexually assaulting, sleeping with, being engaged with underage women. When you heard about this indictment, what were your first thoughts?
My first thoughts were, it's about time. It's taken us 25 years to get to this point, unfortunately. It shouldn't have taken this long. None of this is new. This is not new information. This is not new acts. This is not, something that none of us have heard before. We've been knowing what he's been doing for the past 25 years. And hopefully, now that we're at this point, we're able to bring him to justice. So, my very first thought was, it's about damn time.
And also, okay, again, you have this videotape that Michael Avenatti discovered that was brought to the attention of the Cook County District Attorney's Office. She also made the call. The pressure also, the intensity that came from that documentary, that also is what opened the doors for a new investigation into R. Kelly.
Absolutely. It was the first time that people were able to see the width, the depth, the breadth of this man's depravity all in one place. And I think that turned the tide. When we started this 2 years ago, we got a lot of negative feedback from the community. But I think once the community got to see, the stories of those women and knowing that those aren't even the only women, there are many, many more who were not in that documentary. It really turned the tide, and people put pressure on the judicial system to do something about it. So it's unfortunate it took us this long, and it took a documentary when women have been crying out for 20 years for us to help them. But we're glad we're here, and hopefully, we can get to the finish line soon.
And when you talk about the issue of, as I asked Scott Bolden, the potential is there for more women to come forward as a result of this indictment today by the Cook County State's Attorney's Office.
Yeah, I think I saw an article earlier today that there were 2 additional women who've come forward who talked about being plied with drugs and alcohol when they were 17 and under at a concert. They were approached by R. Kelly's security team. And brought in, so I think there are a lot of receipts out here. Part of what Mute R. Kelly has been about is trying to create a climate where people feel supported in coming forward, because we know the evidence is out there. We know the victims are out there. And so, with this happening, it's going to be probably an avalanche. We know that there are a lot more videos out there, and there are a lot of people who have the receipts. And I think now they feel emboldened and courageous enough to come forward because they know that the community is going to support them in those actions. So we hope that they do.
All right, Oronike, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot. And again, certainly give our best wishes to the other women involved in the Mute R. Kelly movement. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
All right, folks, let's talk about one of our partners, the folks at D Herbs. And so, of course, the folks at D Herbs partner here with Roland Martin Unfiltered. 2019 is all about folks getting healthy and getting well. I participated in doing their full body cleanse over the course of 20 days, lost about 18 pounds. Many of you out there are looking to increase your energy, but also lose weight and also to live a much healthier life. The D Herbs full body cleanse is a way for you to do that. They have 27 different cleanses that you can take advantage of. I did the 20-day one. Previously had done the 10-day one. And so you can do any one of those. And again, it's about removing toxicity from your body, removing a lot of those processed foods, getting you to eat differently and to also think differently. And so on that 20-day cleanse, I was doing, of course, just vegetables as well as raw fruits and nuts as well. That's the only thing I could actually eat on that cleanse. And so it changes your view of food and how you eat. If you want to try the full body cleanse, do me a favor, go to dherbs.com, and then you can use the promo code Roland in order to try one of their cleanses. And so again, you can also call this number 1-866-4DHERBS, 1-866-4DHERBS. Use the promo code Roland when you do the checkout to participate in taking advantage of the D-Herbs full body cleanse. And so we certainly appreciate them being a partner here with Roland Martin Unfiltered. And so we want you to take advantage of that.
Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.